And good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Midweek Autumn Series presented by SZR, the Swedish Swift Racing Team. We are out here on San Sequoias for 2 laps. That is going to be 43 kilometers. It is going to be a little bit longer race than the riders are used to. A little bit of a KOM right in the middle of things with a flat out sprint. We'll see if things get split up a little bit. I'm Nathan Guerra Dave Towle is next to me. And this is a series that's been going on for a couple of weeks now. And we've got a little bit smaller pack amongst the women out there today, but definitely some top tier talent. I do see Vicky Nealon's out there, Kristen Kolchinski. A few of the riders coming from the SC team, of course, can be showing up for the race. The Vikings are represented by Guy Distance. So some of the top women are out on course. In the men's race, though, we definitely have Army Cycling showing up in full force. BRT, Dirt, Draft. I've seen Cyrus to Pros Classic, Innovation. The list goes on. So, Fast and Furious racing for sure, Dave. And I think this is kind of the midweek hype right about now as far as the racing goes out here.
There's so much going on in the world of Zwift right now, Nathan. I can understand why the fields aren't as large as maybe we would like to see. The way I would look at this one from the women's perspective here, I mean, you've got Barbara Frisch, Kristen Kolchinski, Christina Grossman. You mentioned Vicky Nealon, Anna Embring as well. I'd look at it like I'm riding out of a breakaway that's going to go to the line possibly, because that's a really strong group that you have there. So it's a long race, 43K. So this is the Machiavellian chess match that we talk about, figuring out how to win. And let's even go ahead and put some pressure on some riders. If you're Grossman and Kolchinski riding together here, let's figure out how to operate as a little team, a little unit, and see if we can get some teamwork going. So today's going to be maybe more of a learning race, I think, for some riders out here. And I love that. We are really building up for what's going to be a big, big fall here. So, yeah, back to you, Nathan. In the men's race, it's going to be bananas. I can't wait.
Yeah, and the women's race, they are just out on course here. They are about 7K in, and we started in a little bit late here today, mainly because one of the reasons being is also the reality is it's a fairly flat start. There was not much to look at the beginning of the race. But one of the things that is interesting about this specific race here with the women is that it is a mixed category race out here with a little bit smaller participation numbers. The past couple of weeks, looks like it has been opened up to have the B's and the C category riders jumping in amongst them. And that's actually going to change things up a little bit because there is plenty of Swedish Zwift racing riders here in and amongst this crew. So definitely going to change things up a little bit, I think, as far as how this is going to be raced. And also the reality, I think that's kind of cool is we can focus in on some of the lower category riders without having to swap over to another race and see how they're playing amongst some of the A's. Maybe time for some upgrades. Maybe get some breakout rides. I mean, some of my best rides were definitely when I had to show up against riders that were ranked higher than me, that had a lot more Palmares than I. And next thing I know, I'm having to hold on the wheels I've never done before, and end up riding out of my skin.
And I absolutely love that, Nathan. That is really what it's all about. So I'm going to use that boxing term that you hear me throw around every now and then. What I'm looking for today out of this group is going to be the rider that's punching above her weight, as they say. You know, they have the weight classes, and if you can fight, and that would be exactly what it's like. If you're a C woman and you're in this group right now, you are doing exactly that. So we're going to be looking for those rides, no doubt about it. That's Maria Geidesen there, the Danish rider up on the front. Is Nathan, I want to go back to your point, though. In order to get better at anything in this world, you need to do it with people who are better than you. Right? It's no fun to keep beating your little sister in checkers. You need to play. You need to play someone who can challenge you. And actually, my little sister would always beat me. But that being said, we're looking to sharpen the blade here, and that's someone that will help you sharpen your blade. Steel sharpens steel, and Vicky Nealon is iron. No doubt about it. She's one of the riders I'd be watching for here today. But Nathan, you make a good point. Let's start trying to look for some of these riders that are doing a tremendous job. Look at all these Aonic kits that we have out here.
Yeah, it's good to see, and exciting to see that new team's out on course. Definitely, we'll watch out to see what they can pull off. They've got two in and amongst this crew here, and we also have down here. It looks like they're coming from the Revo team, and then the Vikings kit that's going to be with the what I call chevron on the back there, that V on the back there. They're going to be I think she's got a teammate with Guidance, so we'll have to see if they can make something happen as they head on over toward the climb. Now, in the men's race, they are just getting out on course as well, and things are already starting to split up here. 119 riders. I'm looking all the way back, and there's more than
Wow.
that, actually. This is the A category, and I'm seeing 153 showing up on the day. This is a huge pack to be dealing with here right now. And toward the front, we've got
Look at
D3
this.
here from the World Elite Swifters, and things are already starting to break apart a little bit here. This is going to be a difficult race to stay toward the front. They are not slowing down immediately. They are trying to break things apart.
This is absolutely brutal to watch here. Nathan, how quickly do they have this down under 40 guys in what you would call the front group here? This is Zwift racing at its very best. I mean, it is not only strung out right now, there are at least 5 gaps opening up through this group. It's these micro gaps that you see riders trying to weld back together. You really, Nathan, how many times on the road when you're in a group does that gap open up and it's not right in front of you? It's even more frustrating when it's 3-4 riders in front of you and you realize that they're not going to be closing this down. They either can't or they won't. And I've watched you racing on Zwift where just hollering into the air but telling guys, come on, close that gap, because if they don't, you're going to have to.
Exactly. And WZ here have really shown up in Forest. It's going to be the World Elite Zwifters, one of the Italian riders. Vittoni now, 5.4 watts per kilogram to hang on anywhere near the front. I'm seeing that very familiar avatar making his way to the front there with the Zwift headband and the KRT kit. That's going to be James Hodges that's out here today. Army Cycling El Saint, as we can see as well. So some solid riders toward the front already now. And at the very front here, Sheehan, though, taking over, maybe trying to cause that second split. There's always that second kick, Dave. You know what I mean? Where there's that initial punch, kind of starts to string things out, but it's that second or third kick a lot of times that somebody actually gets away and causes a couple more to come with. Doesn't look like it's all going to go Grupo Compacto and settle down again, though.
No, but you are 100% right, Nathan. And that's really what defines a world-class racer, is to being able to go with those surges. And sometimes you just don't think it's ever going to stop out there, and then they back off, and that's what they're doing right now. We're going to just settle in a little bit, only 5K in. So let me hit some data points for you here at the start of the show. Nathan mentioned it'll be 2 laps with 43 total kilometers of racing. This is, I think, Nathan, one of the most familiar courses on the platform. It's been around since basically day one, sand and sequoias. And a big thank you again to all of our friends in Sweden, the SZR Midweek Racing in full effect. And Nathan, these are the numbers that we're looking for. We're going back now. It looks like in picking up the women here, we're going to see these numbers growing too. There's no doubt about it. We've talked over the last few weeks about all the exciting things that are happening in the Zwift community. And this is a race that's got some chops, doesn't it, Nathan? We're going to start seeing more and more riders. And I like the concept today. Just again, we are mixing categories here. So that A group has got some really tough B women. And any C's still up there, Nathan? I see Daniela Estrate, one of the names we already know. I'm looking for names I don't know.
Heinrich here. Heinrich, it looks like, from the C category, able to
Good
hold on
catch.
so far. 181
Good
beats per minute,
catch.
though, right now. Going to be tough to hang on, as you can see. It does also
Every
look
second
like
she hangs in here,
Rubicic.
Nathan. I mean, every second she can hang in there, Nathan. Sorry to jump on you, but I'm excited for her because this is a rider that is in front of our eyes getting better. You know what I'm saying? This is really, really tough what she's doing. She's going outside of her comfort zone. She's digging in right now. She's staying in the draft. I mean, what more advice does she need? I think just stick with your heart. You're doing a great job.
Yeah, and this is really amazing ride here coming from Heinrich. But look at the heart rate there. It's going to be a difficult day to hang on to this kind of pace all the way up over the top. We're just getting in to the Sequoias section out on Titans Grove. They've gone through the sand now. Now it's really the challenging point out on this course is going to be every time, well, the 2 times that they do hit in and through the Sequoias. As soon as it starts getting into this fog, you know that the climb is on its way, and it's going to be about a 2 to 3 minute climb to the top, and full on effort that they're going to be throwing down. Maybe a little bit more than that. I'm going to have to double check my numbers on that. But the other thing about this though climb, you can hang on though. It does. It undulates. It's not this straight up spike or anything like that. It actually has tiers to it. Probably about four of them actually, where you have a little bit of a grind. It's only 4%, I think, at its max though. Then goes even. There's even a declines during some of this climb as well. Get into the flats. You can hang on. We are actually starting it right here. So the first initial kicks at the bottom here are starting to go.
Yeah, and this is where the really experienced strong riders like Kolchinski, that's going to be Kristen Kolchinski there in the alien kit with the Tron bike, the pink wheel Tron bike there on the front. She's one of the real danger women in this race, no doubt about it. I would have to say that she and Neelan are two of the riders that you really look at. So this is the moment now where unfortunately we're going to unhitch a few riders at this point, Nathan. This is what, I mean, you talk about the cream rising to the top. It's not rising to the top. It's literally jumping out of the picture right now, is that's going to be the first selection. I really think today is going to be a day where we'll try to cover that second group, the chasing group, even more than normal, as we have a very unique race situation going on out here. But Nathan, this is going to be the vanguard. These ladies are sorting it out. And hey, you speak truth to power, right? Well, this is truth and power that we're looking at in this front group right now. So let's see who's going to be. Oh, they're coming back, Nathan. This is really impressive here. It looks like we're going to see about 6 riders working well here, and let's see if they can rejoin. They're doing exactly what you were talking about. This course suits the puncher, the fighter, the rider that won't give up.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100% there. And Dylan here now trying to come back. Speaking of, and Neville as well. So those initial kicks, as we saw at the bottom, as soon as it went uphill, the top riders did start to give it that 7-8 watts per kilogram. But now we are seeing it's going to be Rubiset Sorgan coming back to the wheels here. And this is going to be an amazing ride, actually, by Sorgan if she can do it. 164 beats per minute, 300 watts and locked almost. But they're starting to ride away now as they kick up again. 4% gradient now. It looks like the wheels are starting to fade away. Rubiset here now also out of Sweden trying to hold on to the wheels. Looks like Heinrich is going to be the wheel. She's going to be hanging with 180 beats per minute now. And then Frisch from Ionian, they're just hanging on the back as well. And this is going to be the A category starting to ride away. Kolchinski and Nilan, they're turning the screws at the front here, Dave.
Yeah, they are. And Nathan, no shame in what's happening. So if I was a director for these ladies, I would be saying, let's organize and try to get a chase going here. We've got a lot of racing ahead of us. So there's no reason to be hanging our heads right now. You're looking at one of the best riders, I would say, over this last couple of months, Kristen Kolchinski. I mean, she beat Chloe Dygert in a finale the other day. And I mean, you want to talk about an upward trajectory. That's what you've got going with KK right there. And it's going to be, it looks like that's Neelan up with her. Daniela Estrate, the rider out of Romania. She absolutely is a contender for the win here today. I mean, that's kind of, Nathan, to me, looks like a rolling podium, to tell you the truth. Those 3 riders are very, very strong. And let's see if Grossman's going to be able to get up there. I see that Maria Gesden is the Danish rider. It looks like she's going to make contact. That's an outstanding job, Nathan, because the train is leaving the station. And if you are not on the 11:11 out of Sequoia, you're not winning a bike race today.
As you can see here, as we get into the helicopter view, 4 riders starting to break away, and Grossman 4 seconds back. We've got Embreen as well as Neville forming a chase pack here as we take a look as well. So there's the gap.
Boy,
they may be able to do this.
they're going to get there. I think they'll do it. If you were Kolchinski, you definitely want to just lay back a little bit, because this is a valuable teammate, Nathan. How hard is that to do? Talk to me about, not riding in the front group right now.
Yeah, Kolchinski, I think, is going to sit second wheel. That is a great point, Dave, here. Looking at Kolchinski, she's not going to want to take too many pulls. Now, there is a reality. There's points at the top, though. So sacrificing the GC to allow Grossman to come back, not sure that's going to happen. I think we're going to see a little bit of a sprint at the top here, because it is awarding 5, 3, 2, and 1 over the Queen of the Mountain. There it is right there. Daniela Estrate says, nope, this is mine. 6.8 watts per kilogram, and just pumps right up over the top, takes down those points in the series. That's 5 points to Daniela Estrate. Vic Nealon takes 2. It's going to be Kristen Kolchinski guide us in there. There is 1 point still available here between Embreen and Neville. And Neville's just going to roll over the line. Doesn't look like there was too much interest from all the riders. I think they're just hanging on for dear life with this break happening right now. Sometimes, the reality when you have splits like this, you forget about the points. You say, will my race for the finish line be over?
Yeah, no, and that's a really good point when you look at the big picture and goals for different riders here. So I want to circle back and say, you look at for the B riders that have started in this race, in a weird way, there's an invisible finish line, and that would be the rear wheel of the last B rider left, if you're following what I'm saying here, because you're the one that survived out of that ecosystem up with the A ladies today. And you're certainly finding out what the high end of racing is all about here, because these women do not mess around. There's no quarter asked for and there's no quarter given. And I think going back, Nathan, to the points in that conversation, it's really an interesting concept when you think about what can you do for a teammate who's in a group behind you. And it's pretty limited when you're racing with a strong group, because you start sitting on a little bit, and it creates a little bit of a bizarre dynamic. This is an interesting group of three that we're looking at right now. So, excuse me, that we were make it four now as we pick up the front group. I am really impressed with Vicky Nealon today, Daniela Estrata, obviously Kristen Kolchinski, and Gaysden. Maria Gaysden here, the Danish rider who joined this group last, but certainly is going to have an impact here. All right, Nathan, grade starts to go up a little bit here. You watch it go 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's getting tough.
It's almost one of the sections that you need to watch out for more, as we see Jarvis the Bear take a little bit of a tumble next to us as they go on by, and that's from the wattage cottage that they're throwing down right next to him. That was a pretty good, that was perfect timing there, Jarvis. Thank you very much. But Geiston coming on through, and that kick in that 8% after the climb, get a little bit of recovery. If somebody still has a little bit of pain in the legs, a little bit of sting, though, you can break somebody off, especially with a smaller group like this and with the rolling descent. You can really gain some speed, but it doesn't look like it's going to be happening here. 4 off the front. This is going to be the ladies' race situation. Let's go ahead and jump back in with the men, though, as they're about to start their climb into the Sequoias. And it does look like we've got Olden here from TTU trying to hang on to a pack, but the splits are starting toward the front. Things are really starting to heat up. Collins here. Vigo Moore is there. Be on the watch out for him. He's going to most likely hang on and be waiting for that sprint situation. But there is points over the top, and that is what is making this a very interesting race in the SZR series, because each and every section is going to be hard fought for those extra points, because they definitely matter.
Nathan, so I'm on Zwiftpower.com right now, where you as well could be taking a look at the start list for this race. It is a really strong group. You just mentioned Vigo Moore, who is the really young American that has been so impressive over the last 6 months. Nathan, we've got him at about 16 years old right now, and this kid is a man among men, without any doubt. Then you have the Canadian, Brett Boniface, who has been well documented, and it looks like his return to racing is now really solidified, and he's, again, the same old Brett Boniface that we've come to know and love. And then the Swedish talent, it's Gustav Wissling, that you certainly look at as a man that's going to be motivated for a big ride here today, because this is a turbocharged field, including the Argentinian Leandro Messinil. Always an exciting rider to have in the race. I see that you've got Brett Boniface queued up right now. Always a good rider to keep your eye on.
And speaking of Boniface here, let's go ahead and take a quick little look here at the current situation for these standings. This is in the series overall for the men. Boniface is actually leading things out, and this is what I was talking about for the overalls. Boniface, Hodges, Cormac McGee, Vigo Moore, Nicholas Peterson, Mike Cumming, James Bevan, Joe Power, The Twig, and George Milskin. They're all going to be battling for those extra points through the sprint section, as well as the King of the Mountain here. 5 points at the top. Over the line, it's 30 points. But those 5 points, as you can see at the top here, those are really going to matter. They're going to be going all out, I think, over the as they come through this first climb in the San Sequoias KOM.
Yeah, Nathan, I don't believe Cormac McGee took the start today, so that's going to be you're going to see some changes in the top 5. Oh, Ed Laverick, he did take the start. Is that what you're saying?
Oh yeah, there he is. Laverick is here.
Yeah, Ed Laverick, absolutely.
Laverick. No, we were both on the same thing. I was on screen looking at, and I think you picked up in the start list at the same time that Laverick is here. So interesting to see, and this might now
game
here's the
changer.
Thing. It doesn't go now. He has been on an absolute tear lately, going after these King of the Mountain races recently. He's recently been racing times, KOMs. It's been pretty amazing. Being a hill climb champion, of the UK, it's kind of his forte. And now this doesn't have maybe the gradient continually to try and get away out
This
here.
isn't a climber's course
It's
today, is
not
it?
really. You're
It's
right there, Dave.
no. Yeah, it's so, but yeah, I love that anytime that you have Ed Laverick in the race, we should charge double for admission because he is one of the most, he's a true gladiator of Zwift, no doubt about it. So, Nathan, I can't wait to watch how this one plays out. We've got 43 total K out there today, and they're coming up on 15, so we're about a third of the way through. Surprisingly large group, to tell you the truth. They went out hard, as they always do, but this has not been as brutal as possible, although they have whittled this down to where I don't even
82.
know if I'm going to venture a
82
guess.
out of 100. 82 out of
That's a lot.
153 have made the front group, but now it's about to get Laverick. Or are we going to see somebody else here with 10 watts per kilogram? It's going to get Clark, it looks like, as Clark throws off the front here from the World of Week. Now it's going to be Zach Herod. Though. Brett Boniface, though, coming over the top, it looks like, for the sprint now. Herod to the line. Or no, it's going to be Boniface. 5 points to the line. Boniface with the kick, whistling, trying to come on through. Clark there as well, but it's going to be an easy run, it looks like, for Boniface for that. Oh, fading a little bit. Well, Davies tried to come on through, but could not nip it at the line. Boniface just over the top. Now, this might start to split things, though. There are a lot of riders behind, but look, the gap is big enough. These riders get together. This could be a serious situation here. Laverick off the back just a little bit, 2 watts per kilogram. I don't think it's going to split too much, actually. There's a large enough pack here. I don't know. Never mind. Look at this.
Yeah.
And that 8% gradient coming up too, Dave.
Listen, Nathan, if there's one thing I learned from you that surprised me early on was how big of an impact you can make on the downhill part of the race. An aggressive rider who's on a mission, who can find a few riders who want to work with them. Nathan, it really opened my eyes to esports racing in those first couple of weeks here. So if you can get the right guys with the right motivation, Gavin Dempster, now we're looking at for the Saris, the Pros Closet team, these are some really big engines. This is going to be right on that line, Nathan. This is some great bike racing going on right now. Nobody is winning the bike race right here, but you could be showing a few guys the back door.
Yeah, and amongst these teams, the only team I see really missing here right now, there's a couple. I mean, the Vikings not really representing hugely. DBR, another team here, but I mean, the reality is, Cyrus the Pros Closet showing up out here today. Ed Laverick out here, WEZ, BRT. We're talking about the top teams amongst the invitational races in the esports teams here. So definitely with Dempster hanging out from Cyrus the Pros Closet, making his way to the front now, 8 watts per kilogram. These splits are going to be happening. Hodges now can see it. He tastes blood in the water, and the shark is on the hunt.
The Shark is a perfect nickname for James Hodges, with the most recognizable wouldn't you say, Nathan? The most recognizable avatar out there right now. I mean, he's the one guy that I can pick out of the group just by his look. So, James, good work out there. He's definitely a leader in this community as well. So let's see what we've got, Nathan. This might be 35 riders here. We'll see, but they definitely punch some tickets on that last, believe it, well, I'm sure you do believe it, on that descent. They're not making things easy for anybody out here. So let's start taking a look who's in this group now. The usual suspects are certainly going to be there, and that's one of the beautiful things, Nathan, about sag climbing. If you are able to position yourself up near the front of the group, even if you're not feeling great during the climb and you slide back 20, 30 spots, you're still in the right group.
Yeah, and there is the reality here right now that it's about, I think, 52 riders that did make this group. There was the gap now at this point. So I'm looking at 8 seconds. That was back to the ones who went over the top. So now it's all back together. They did weld it back together, excuse me. So I'm looking actually about 10 seconds back. Matt Price, Johan Gren did not make this, which is really, really interesting. Johan Gren, very
talented
strong
rider.
Yeah.
Yep.
We're also seeing Lennox Saint there from Armored Cycling. We're seeing Richard Solman as well as Stefan Dahl. So there's a group behind here. They were only 10 seconds back the last time we checked. That is going out, though, very quickly. It's a smaller chase group behind this. We'll see if we can find them. They may be able to bring it back together here on the flatter sections, but with the sprint out there being worth some points and it coming so quickly after this descent, it's going to ramp up
It's
right
pretty
away
hard.
again.
It's a big ask. Nathan, when's the last time you saw Zach Herod out racing? One of the Englishman. I'm a young, talented rider. It's good to see him back now, and he's an impact player. He's a perennial top 10 contender. We're gonna go back now. Oh, I thought we were back with the chase
Yeah, this
group
is the
here.
chase
Thanks,
group here.
Nathan.
Adrian
Yep,
Timmis.
yep.
Adrian Timmis jumping out here today with the check mark. Ex-Tour de France rider. Long time Zwifter. Good to see him jumping in. He's in and amongst the group here. Settlers, it looks like from the TFC. Powell is there as well. This is that chase group I was talking about. Trying to make something happen. Get Zwifty in no man's land, though, as you can see here. 8 seconds. He's going to wait for that group, see if he can bring things back together with it. But as you can see up ahead, the time goes out so quickly on these descents. If we get the helicopter view, we may be able to see off in the distance a large group just entering. Oh, no, right there. There we can see just around the corner, actually. Oh, that's so painful.
There they are.
For Get
Ouch.
Zwifty.
Yeah.
I mean, look, we are just watching them fly away here. And if we look here,
This reminds me of that
point of view, 2 turns. This
that
is just
guy
2 turns here, Dave.
It's like being at the airport at your gate and at the window seeing the plane on the runway, right? You know you're not getting on that plane, but you're only 100 meters away from it. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah, and this does not look like, I think you're right there, Dave. I don't think that's coming back because they are flying. And we're about to get back into another sprint section. Points are on the line. Boniface took the points over the top of the King of the Mountain. This next time through the sprint, we'll have to see how things work out. Part of the reason why things were so fast the first lap through was because of that sprint section. We'll see if we can get an idea of how things played out for the KOM in the sprints.
Well,
for that first section, I believe, see if I can pull this in here. I do think. Go ahead, Dave.
I was going to say that points table that you showed our current standings, Nathan, you can see that, it's not that large of a spread, to tell you the truth. It's relatively compact. So there's a lot of room to move either up or down with a good ride out here today. So, and now that you've whittled this group down here, collecting these points along the way is going to make a big difference as to who our overall series winner is. And big thank you to SZR for putting on the midweek series. This one clearly being embraced. And Nathan, I'm going to throw it back to you because look at this. It's a Laverick situation.
Laverick off the front. Now, in the first sprint, it was Brett Boniface there. Gustav Westing, followed up by Anders Frisk and Hywel Davies. David Gardo, that's your top 5. Boniface came over the top of the King of the OM, and then Hywel, then Gustav. And then it was Daryl Clark, followed up by Zach Herod. That was your top 5 through the King of the Mountain. Now we got the second sprint coming through here. We'll see if Boniface is going to continue with his domination here. Boniface here now making his way to the front. As you can see, looking to set up. He doesn't have a lead out man. Anderson for WZ was off the front there for a moment, 2 seconds, but not going to be happening. Now coming through, it's going to be Whitestein and W because Boniface, he's not going to want to have his nose in the wind at this point. Zach Herod, though,
Jaeger
coming through.
Yep. I see Jaeger moving up as well. That's a rider to watch as they are just about to complete lap number 1 here, or getting pretty close to being 1 to go out here for a 2-lap, 43-kilometer race out on sand in Sequoia. So this is the front group for the men. Boy, they have defined, if you've been watching with us here for the last half hour or so, defined what whittling a group down is all about. There have been multiple different riders and teams that have gone to the front, and basically just about every time the road pitches up, you'll see a few riders at the back. And I think where this is going to stabilize at this point, Nathan, as you look at this group, I don't think that the next 10, 15 minutes we see many more riders getting dropped out of this group. This is where you start wondering if any kind of breakaway is going to start coming together here. It's not impossible on a day like today. It's also not likely.
It's not impossible, and I think it's been really hard racing so far, though. And the racers make the race.
A good
point. There is just, there is the reality that if they are pressing the pace like this, I'm seeing some of these riders pretty, this is crazy.
What about a limit?
Jack Dallin
that's
here,
an
5
outstanding
watts per
point.
kilogram, 371 just to hang in to this pack.
Yeah, Nathan, that is something that I really want to highlight there. If they race this hard, there is no over-the-top percentage. And right as I say that, you can see a rider attacking here, but this is going to be for points. Oh.
Yes, it is. It is. And Boniface
Yeah,
here, he's
Good.
all
Yeah.
in. 1,100 watts for Boniface. Tywell Davies trying to come on through. Here comes Wisting. Here, he wants this so badly. Boniface beat him both times before. It's right to the line. Wisting, I think, got it. It was, I think, was he just nipped him
Gustav,
at the line. Gustav, we'll have to take a look at that
the back
again.
end
I
API,
mean,
baby. I
that
had.
was so close there, Dave.
Yeah, I mean, so by my eye on my computer, it looked like Gustav Visting picks that one up. However, I'm sure that they'll confirm that data there. But this is what a sprint on Zwift is all about. So that's going to be the Canadian Brett Boniface going out very, very hard. But look at this effort. Look at those numbers from Gustav as he's going to go just enough to go past here. Watch this because there's the line. You don't time it any better.
I think
He
he.
only
I think.
leads.
Oh my gosh! I think he got it. I
Oh,
think he got
photo
it.
finish.
There's a photo finish there. It really. I think he got it by like a tire length, though, and is what it looks like here. And they're not even slowing down. Immediately out of the sprint here, as you can see, right from the go. I think is it going to be Laverick? He really wants to make something happen. It seems like today. Actually, no. Is it WZ going off the front here? Vitoni, perhaps? No, it's
Vitoni?
Dempster. It's Dempster.
Gavin Dempster. There you go. So that orange and blue jersey also not only highly recognizable, highly respected on this platform. They're going to bring the Scottish rider Dempster back. But Nathan, that might be the first shot across the bow there as far as attacking goes on the final lap for the men. Let's go back and pick up what is a surprisingly large group here for the women as we're looking at a pretty similar situation. They're out there on their last big lap of racing on sand and Sequoias. Are you as stunned as I am to see this situation here? So that chase group caught talking about Christina Grossman and company. Is that what we're seeing?
That is what we're seeing.
Sure
It is a
is.
little bit surprising, but at the same time, I think Kolchinsky probably slowed. Oh, look at this! Right when we get in with them here,
You got back at the
Kolchinsky
right
and
time.
Grossman, they give a little bit of a kick. And it looks like it's
These
going to be
two.
Grossman and Kaczynski four truck
Cheeky.
making something happen. Neela knows. Do not let this go. And this is something new here, I think, Dave,
Unbelievable.
right? Speak to that. The reality that Grossman and Kolchinsky, they put themselves on the radar this past summer. And now Neela knows, and she's isolated. She doesn't have the rest of the Hino team. And this is something
It's
she has to
unbelievable.
chase down.
Well, so just to give a little bit of perspective here now, these two, when you talk, Grossman is a record company executive. The Kolchinsky is a jeweler. They both live in the New York City area, New York metro area. Neither one of them have really any in real life racing experience. They both are really new to this platform. They're ambitious. They're excited about it. And you're watching two people learning at 10,000 miles an hour. You know what I'm saying? Like they're building the parachute as they're coming down to earth because, and I think that is one of the coolest things. There is so much courage by these two. So they are trying some tactics. They're using techniques here. Kolchinsky trying to use her teammate Grossman. I wonder if they're even communicating on Discord these days. I don't know, Nathan, but I love to see this. Is there anything better than watching someone embrace something new that's a challenge and then finding success in it? So they're not going to play around with Kolchinsky. It's going to be Neelan who has all the responsibility along with Gesden. And those two, along with Embring here and Estrate, realize that they've got an ambitious Kristen Kolchinsky to deal with here today out of this front group. Nathan, that's really cool racing out there. So yeah, I mean, as you said, racers make the race. And these ladies, they didn't start with a large field, but what they decided to do was get after it out here. And it has just been body blow after body blow being thrown as they come up on 30K in. So we're working our way into the middle part of this last lap out here on Sand and Sequoias. And Kolchinsky's going to love it when the climbing starts because that's where she shines.
Yeah, as you can see, Kolchinsky looking for a little bit of a gap, though. Oh, and Grossman. After the, I mean, maybe this was the launch pad. She's done her work, but unable to hang on as it came on through. And it looks like
big time bike racing.
To be it. It is. And that's what happens sometimes. Yep. And maybe it was a launch pad. Maybe that's what the idea was there. Maybe there was some communication, or perhaps it was too much.
Well, Nathan, I'm going to use that, though. I'm going to go with your truth. It was a launch pad. And if that's the case, you just found out a couple of things about Christina Grossman. She's a gamer. She's a willing teammate. She's a helper. And I think that is awesome. So if she sacrificed herself for her teammate right there, that is next level bike racing. And yeah, sure, you blow up. A lot of times in real life races, you go to a major stage race like Tour of California, and you'll see riders coming in 15, 20 minutes after the winner has finished. And they're the riders that made the biggest moment in the race happen. You just didn't see it because it was 30 miles ago, but they're the ones that absolutely threw themselves on the grenade out there. So that's going to be Kolchinski coming back into the group. So we'll hit a reset button here, but I'm going to give Christina Grossman a gold star today.
It was Daniela Strate from the new Aeonian team that made a little bit of room, the Romanian rider, to go across. It did not work out, though, as Geidenson from the Vikings team. It did shut things down. She's really on the ball here today, knowing when the moves are going to go and when they're not. They let Kolchinski dangle out there, and that's always one of the hard parts. When you make those moves, it's a risk. You lay the chips on the table, and sometimes you get pot committed. And next thing you know, you get dragged all the way to the river. It didn't end up playing out there. It's all reset, and we go back to a reshuffle now.
I think the difference is, Nathan, if this was 2 months ago, it's not that Kolchinski's that much stronger per se than she was, but she's that much smarter because the old Kristen, I think, would have gone back to this group and then continued to pull them along. Now she knows way better than that. She doesn't do any work for anybody else that isn't going to benefit her. And I hate to say it, but I think it's pretty well documented that in this sport, if you want to be successful, a big part of it isn't doing other people's work for them, right? You try to help them finish what's on their plate before you start your plate rather than vice versa. But it takes a strong will to do that. And I think that's part of why that old nice guys or nice women finish last statement, it's not as true as it used to be, but you do have to be really protective of your own interests in this sport. And I'm sure you can relate to that, Nathan, where there's moments where you think, I want to be a nice guy and help this person out, but if I do that, I'm actually making it tougher for myself to win later. So
you have to, it's wheel sucking. It's all about being the wheel sucker. I'm going to say it straight up.
To suck wheel, right? I mean, I don't think there's too many people that enjoy getting yelled at by the rest of the breakaway because you're sitting on. It's not fun, is it?
No, but I mean, there is a reality in Zwift that now there is also, I mean, it's a fine line. It is a fine line. And there's reality that in this situation we're seeing right now, Kolchinski is going to the front because she has seen that Vicky Nealon's done her work. She put the dig in. They got a 6-second gap. Let's not slow down. Let's not let these riders come back. Get rid of it. Geideson especially, because I know Geideson's got a solid kick. They do not want her coming to the line.
Yeah, she's like a horrible house guest, just won't leave when you talk about Geideson, right? But it's the Aeonian rider, Daniela Estrate, that now has moved up to the front. So isn't this where we were about a lap ago, if I remember correctly?
But Geideson had made it. Geideson had made it, so they were able to shed her.
Up. Right.
Exactly.
Right. So that's really the only difference. What Nathan is pointing out there is that Geideson isn't there now. So back to the same three. And it was 2 laps out here today, Brent, and they're well into the second one. So right now we're a little more than a dozen kilometers away from the finish.
Yeah, thanks a lot, everybody, for jumping on into the chat. We do like to highlight your chat, so go ahead and keep them coming on in. I do see another comment coming on in from James Elsey. Is steering enabled, and is there anyone using steering? Do we know? No, it is not enabled, James. Thanks a lot for the question. And we're really excited to see when we do have. I did do a steering-only race, actually, ZHQ Beta, just the other day. It was a ton of fun.
How fun was it?
It was so great. Yeah, and it was out on downtown Dolphin, and you really could use the cornering. Actually, myself and Kieran Lewis, one of the ZHQ riders who's coming out of Australia, who rides at a top elite level as well, he was saying it's going to be a lot like crit racing. You've got to hug the corners, but you have to fight for the corners because your avatar will hit the other avatars. And when it does, you can't take the tightest corner. So that means you have to surge to take the corner first if you want it. But is that a risk you even want to take? But if you back off and there's 5 riders, you got to go to the back. It doesn't matter if you take the inside corner. You're still at the back. They're getting a gap on you. You can actually open up some meters pretty quickly out of each and every corner. I think I opened up 15 meters on some of the other riders out of a corner. That ended up winning me the race, actually. So it's really, really cool.
I'm really excited to see more of that. So, okay, well, I'm going to turn our attention back to these 3, Nathan. I would have to say, with these 3, it's a pick 'em, as we would say here in the United States. I don't know that this is where your depth of knowledge really surpasses mine, in that I think these are all three very evenly matched sprinters, to tell you the truth. I don't have a favorite. Do you? If this comes to the line together as three?
Nealon's got 1 watt per kilogram more, I think, than Nostrate. Kolchinsky's going to be on the weaker side comparatively. So
Yeah,
we're
she
looking at
definitely
about
strength.
we're looking at 150 extra watts coming from Nealon for
So
15 seconds
on
on
paper,
paper. On
Vicky is the
paper.
rider to beat. Yeah, yeah,
On
and that
paper, but
makes sense to me.
Astrate though is very keen. She really knows how to sit and wait. Really like a lion is out there
You know,
in the prairie
it's
waiting to kill.
funny that you use that analogy because I was going to say I don't know that I've seen a more ambitious new racer than Kolchinsky. To tell you the truth, getting between her and a finish line is getting between a hippo and the river, and not a good place to be because she's a killer. So it's interesting, isn't it? Someone who doesn't have a sprinter's physiology, but who has a winner's mindset, right? And all three of the riders in that group have a winner's mindset. There's no doubt about it. Vicky Nealon has to come in as the most celebrated, I would say, most decorated rider in this group, and that's by a long shot with her extensive racing history. Hino, Nathan, again, one of the most respected teams out here as well. But it's going to be Kolchinsky who's going to take it to him right now. You can see that this is where she shines. She's going to go all in. You said the word pot commit earlier. I thought we might be seeing something similar, but she's going to make it tough on these ladies here. We're going to have a really interesting run as they go inside of 10K to go. The guy's not that further behind right now as we're looking at, oh, Nathan, look at this. Ed Laverick on the Laverick attack.
Yeah, I just wanted to real quick. We'll jump back into the Queen of the Mountain in just 1 second, but I wanted to pick this up before we missed it. Laverick from the bottom of the Tempest Fusion course, from the bottom, as soon as they hit the Desert Oasis, that is the first part of the climb. Really, it's not the KOM, but it's really where the climbing starts from bottom to top. And he went right from there. He did get closed down here, it looks like, but he's really trying to make things hurt a little bit more for some of these riders, I think, when it does go uphill. So that's the situation. We're going to jump back in, though, with the ladies as they finish up their Queen of the Mountain. And as they do, we'll see how things come together here. As Kolchinsky did get pulled back in by Nealon, it was Daniela Estrate, though, as well, going across. Actually, no, excuse me on that. It was Daniela Estrate who kicked at 8 watts per kilogram. Nealon followed the wheel here. Now Nealon's turning the screws at the front a little bit. I wonder if Kolchinsky, 180 beats per minute right now, as you're saying, all heart, but the heart rate's getting pretty high here. 6.8, she goes again, though. She's not stopping, and this is where she can win. This is where she can win. I'm not sure in the sprint it'll make it happen, though.
Well, and this is what when you look at what is world class talent, it's someone who is willing to go deeper than anybody else into the pain cave. And pretty astounding how much Kristen Kolchinsky is willing to suffer here, but the other ladies are absolutely ready to go toe for toe with her here. It's just body blow after body blow being thrown right now because that's going to be Vicky Nealon out of the United Kingdom on the Hino team taking back over. Nathan, these women are locking horns out here. This is a really competitive three-rider group. When you talk about looking at strengths and weaknesses, and there goes Estrate now, the Aeonian rider here in that camouflage kit. That's a new team that we've been talking about the last couple of weeks, and she was a big rider to sign with them recently. One of the talents that certainly is going to help put them on the map. They're on the map now. So we're looking now at Vicky Nealon in the red. That's Kolchinsky in the black, the alien kit with the pink wheels. And here's an attack. Nathan, I'm going to throw it back to you because it just got real out in Sequoias.
Yeah, Daniela Estrate trying to take down the sprint again. Nealon, they're looking for the points. Another orange numbers. Kick the line to Nealon. Oh, she wanted it. Little too late. Now will Kolchinsky come back? There's no riders to go with here. It's nothing but your own power at this point. Nealon's got a break. 181 beats per minute. 165 as you can see here. Kolchinsky trying to come back now. 5.4 watts per kilogram. This could have been it. And she brought it back here. If Nealon would have continued, it could have happened because it was rider versus rider at this point.
You know what? Looks like Kolchinsky took your... Yeah, she took your advice. This is what you call a counterattack right now. And even that is going to get snuffed out. So they are not giving any leash right now. So, Nathan, I don't know if you've ever played Chinese checkers, right? But it's really a bizarre scenario when you have three different people racing for the same prize. It's with two, you've got one rider to watch. But now there's a much more interesting dynamic. I don't know that there's any scenario in bike racing that's more compelling to me than a three-rider break that's going to make it to the line. And that is exactly what we've got here today in Sand and Sequoia. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're down to the business end of this bike race for the women. These 3A category riders have all made the ultimate selection. And Nathan, I don't see how one of them is able to attack and get away, because everybody's playing their own hand here. But every time you have one rider attacking solo, the other two are going to be able to work together to bring her back. So it makes it really, really tough to escape out of this group.
Looking at the current situation in the series right now, Embreen off the back here, not getting these points in the sprint of the Queen of the Mountain. So Nieland here grabbing a couple extra points. Grossman now off the back as well. So not going to be able to make. Brackus not showing up today. Bambrist as well. But Kolchinsky, she's really going to see some extra numbers out here today, because she's been showing up and at the pointy end of these sprints, the Queen of the Mountain. That's what makes showing up, as well as these cool little sprint points that SCR has added, a huge part of this. This is that little 8% gradient. Kolchinsky now, this, because again, you don't usually see this, a broken apart pack. This can work. Daniela Strate trying to make something happen, pushing the pace. 4 watts per kilogram. Nealon's on the wheel. She can't break it though. It's still a group of 3 all back together. Will Kolchinsky go over the top? Nope.
Well, it's interesting. I keep thinking that don't poke the bear if you're a Strate, because what happens is you expose yourself when you make an attack like that. If they're strong, you can get counterattacked and find your. It's amazing, Nathan, isn't it? How quickly they can turn the tables on you out here. But right now, it looks like it's going to be status quo for those 3, our leaders in the women's race. We're going to split screen it here, because obviously things are starting to hot up out here. It looks like the Swedes are rolling right now, Nathan, and that is never encouraging if you're back in the peloton, because you know it's going to hurt. That's going to be Lundqvist and Astrom are the 2 riders that are trying to make their mark here, and they are stringing it out at the front. Nathan, I'll throw it back to you. These guys are bringing this one home ahead of schedule.
11 watts per kilogram here. Boniface still looking for some points. As you can see, Boniface now 11 watts per kilogram, 13 watts per kilogram. Boniface wants these points so badly. He knows that it could be a race of just 1 or 2 points at the end of the series. So he goes for him. Wisting, though, again, looks to nip it at the line. Will he make it happen? He got him in the last one, but not today here. When it goes uphill, Boniface has the kick. Longquist there coming on through for third. Looks like Kyle Davies. And then Ryan Giuliano, the pro triathlete, now jumping in and amongst the boys here. Oh. Good to see Giuliano from Team Draft here. He was actually I've known Giuliano for a long time, working with Power Bar back in the day. Great to see him. I always really cool to see long time. The world of cycling is so small in the reality of it, and the sport, these endurance sports, and seeing him in and amongst the crews out here, jumping out onto Zwift has been so cool, especially at the top level here. 10, 15 years down the road, still racing very, very hard, but in a virtual world here. Laverick now, though, trying to come back. It's a 3-second gap. This could stick. This is a situation coming to the line. There's not a lot of time left. We might see some riders get committed.
Look at this. Yeah, Scott Gleason is another rider I'm going to be watching for. It's nice to see the R3 Arvenga boys are represented, Nathan, but that's going to be Ed Laverick again. It's going to be absolutely brutal on the run in here. So let's call it the next 6K or so. These guys are absolutely going to be having at it with reckless abandon out here. A relatively large group as they make their way. Boy, are they creating a split here or not? It's going to be touch and go. So
those riders off the back here. So they were at least able to eject a few, but I think it's kind of welding back together with the main big hitters here. Collins, 9 watts per kilogram, 8% gradient here. This is that next section, Dave, that we talk about, where it could be even more crucial than the initial climb.
Yeah, absolutely here. And this is where, if you're strong, it's much easier to make an impact on a climb like this, right? It's really, really hard to move up in the group when they are almost single file and snaking their way down one of the descents. But right now, this is time to get position, because it's not going to be long until we move into finale mode. And these guys wins here, racing very aggressively. This is how you do it. Boy, they have tenderized this group. If nothing else, Nathan, there cannot be many fresh legs left out in Watopia right now. That is for sure. Certainly not in this group, as these riders have done everything they can to bring this group to the line in as small numbers as possible.
Tony to the front there, as you're saying,
Another
trying to
split.
make it, whittle it down just a little bit here. Each one of these corners matter, but I think this is all going to stay together for this top.
Yeah.
I believe we've got about, I'm going to look back here. Hywell Davies actually at the back. This is a
And
rider watch out
Dempster
for the
too.
sprint.
And Gavin Dempster getting up there, Nathan. Another name to watch, I think.
You know, he won, I think it was the Tour of Vila, if I'm not incorrect there.
Yes,
And
correct.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it was a climbers race, really. I mean, the guy walked away from me and got 7 minutes on me in a Kiss 100 when we went over the volcano. He's definitely got a kick, but I'm not sure he's got the kind of kick that's going to go up
Not
against
this,
Vigo
not a
more.
Vigo.
Exactly.
There. Funny that we land on Vigo at the exact same nanosecond because, in my mind, Nathan, he's a proven commodity. The young, talented American is absolutely the rider to beat out of this group today. No doubt about it. I mean, he's done it before and he'll do it again. And good chance he does it today.
Yeah, and again, Vigo Moore though also he's going for the points or the overall because there's such a big kick in him. You're looking at 30 points coming into the race. Now this isn't the current standings with the sprints, but this was coming into the race. Boniface is who he's trying to hunt down. Vigo 145. He needs a pretty big kick, and I think Boniface is going to come to the line with him. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a podium that was Vigo first after Boniface laid down. Boniface took almost every sprint point. So because of that, I think Vigo's been sitting in. We haven't seen him challenge them. He'll look for those 30 points, but there's not a big spread between first and second, though, and third. So let's go ahead and jump on over, though, to the ladies. They're about to finish up their final K here as they take it to the line. That three has stuck together.
Okay, good. We're going to learn a lot as we take a look at those three. So let's go ahead and set the table for you here after 41 kilometers of racing. So we'll use about inside of 2K certainly right now. The celebrated Vicky Nealon from the United Kingdom with the yellow wheels and red jersey up on the front. Right behind her in the black jersey with the pink wheels is going to be Kristen Kolczynski, the jeweler out of New York. And then you've got the Romanian wonder. That's Danielle Estrate in the camel kit of the Aeonian team. So these are the three riders to watch. Nathan, with his expertise, has talked about the fact that Vicky Nealon on paper, if you go to Zwiftpower, she's put up numbers that are recognizably higher than the other two in this group. But Nathan, how many times has it come down to a scenario where you look at what's on the paper and then what you see at the finish line is a little bit different, because this is a living organism when you talk about the process of being a bike racer. Some their trajectories on the way up. Other riders might be struggling. Some riders might be in the middle of a big training block right now. There's so many things that you don't know, and that is why I would just say, go ahead, get the popcorn and a soda. We're going to watch ourselves one heck of a bike race here. I honestly, Nathan, I don't have a pick. And nor do we need to have a pick here. Let's let the ladies race. But it's always fun to know, it's always fun to have a favorite is a good way to put it.
Yeah, and I think I have a feeling it's Danielle Estrate. If she plays her cards right, she'll make something happen here. Maybe Kristen Kolczynski, though, she hears the broadcast. I know she watches them all. She's like, I'm going to show you guys what's up here today. I'm going to have a breakout right here. I would not be surprised if we saw something. But Nealon, though, on paper, one of the favorites. Estrate has beaten her to the line, though, before. Here we go. We're into that sprint point. We're coming to the last 800 meters.
And remembering that it was only a week ago that we watched Kristen Kolczynski, go to the line in a group with riders of the caliber of world champion Chloe Dygert and win.
Look at these cat mouse games. They're just watching each other.
So you're looking at some riders here that have learned a tremendous amount about how you win a bike race, because not many bike racers are stone cold killers. So, right, it's a Mexican standoff right now, as they say. Nobody wants to pull their gun.
Kolczynski,
and it starts. This is it.
Kristen Kolczynski now 10 watts per kilogram. She's leading things out here, but Vicky Nealon is going to have the second kick. It might just be who can hold to the line. Kolczynski fades. The Avatar sits down. Nealon over the top, but Danielle Estrate, she sat in the wheels. Will she be able to do it? It's right to the line. Nealon just barely pulls it off. Oh my goodness. That was so awesome to see Nealon. I mean, I thought Estrate might be pulling that off there right at the line. Oh my gosh, that was so close. Oh my God. And now it's right into the men. because they're right on. I mean, they're
right
coming
there.
on through. I mean, they're pretty much right there as well, chasing down the ladies here. So what a kick there, though, coming from Vicky Nealon. Like I said, it might have been the first to go. Now kicking, here comes Wims. Now, as they head toward this 800 meters, it's just around the corner here in just a moment. But Wims leading things out. Laverick, though, I missed this here. We'll have to go back to a replay to see how this ended up playing out, because Laverick's 2 seconds out the front, but they're going to come like a freight train. It ain't going to slow down.
Oh, boy. All right. Well, it's a 2-for-1 day here on Zwift Community Live as the guys are now deep into their finale. As Nathan just pointed out, that's going to be Ed Laverick. So the question is, can he possibly prove Nathan wrong? And no, he doesn't. So that's the reality. Vitoni coming up and over the top. That's going to be the World Elite Swifters, one of the most powerful teams on planet Earth without any doubt. Nathan, I'm going to throw it to you. The boys are coming in hot.
Davey's trying to make something happen here. Where is Vigo? Vigo Moore coming from the middle of the pack here. 14 watts per kilogram. Vitoni's trying to hang on to it, though. Vitoni, will he be able to do it? No. Boniface, late kick with the speed. Will he make it happen? Right at the line. Oh, my gosh. It's so close. I think Vigo got it. But back in API, don't lie. We'll have to take a look. I think you're right, though. I think you are right. We're going to take a look at that one in just a second. First, though, let's take a look at the women's here. Dave, that was amazing.
Well, first off, I'm printing up a back-end API Don't Lie t-shirt because that is the world that we live in. Nathan is talking about the data, what I think I saw and what the actual truth is might be different, to be honest. So that is why we will wait. But one thing I do know is we witnessed 2 great bike races out here today. Nathan, I love what's happening out here in esports, and I think we certainly got our money's worth out here today. A 3-rider group for the women going to the line: Vicky Nealon, Danielle Estrate, and Kristen Kolchinski. And as they say, Zwiftpower don't lie. Actually, that is not a statement, but it will be now, because the Zwiftpower showed us, actually broke it down correctly, as Kolchinski goes first, as she should. They did wait. It was a patient sprint. Vicky Nealon, though, shows that she's got the steely nerves and is able to go with that surge from Kolchinski, come up and over the top. And then the big question was Danielle Estrate going to have enough to close out the deal? And this is a really good look. And again, we'll look at the back-end API, but that's pretty clearly Vicky Nealon over Estrate and Kristen Kolchinski. That's your gold, silver, and bronze medal winners for the women.
Yeah, for the women there, it looks like that's how things ended up playing out here. And I'm actually seeing this course too. Nealon, I think, is going to be hitting her handlebars here. I thought it was Nealon at the line there, but on this course specifically, they are saying, let's take a look here, and I believe we've got Daniela Estrate. She timed it perfectly here. And as we take a look here, it does look like she was able to make that happen here. Daniela Estrate coming on through 1:02.02 from what we can see here right now. And that was, I mean, look at how close it is, though. We saw the wheels at the line. Our angle is maybe as well might have been something to do with that there. Now, we're going to have to wait a little bit, though. I believe we're going to have a few of the other categories still finishing out here. But let's go ahead and go through. I'm going to give it to you here for the results there, Dave.
Great. Thank you, Nathan. So, again, you go to the data, and it was Danielle Estrate taking the gold medal for Aeonian and Romania, Vicky Nealon of Haino for silver, and Kristen Kolchinski for 4 Racing and the United States taking the bronze. Then you've got Swede Anna Embring taking 4th, Maria Gedzien in 5th. And I think that's pretty cool, Nathan, that's 5 different nations represented in our top 5. Christina Grossman gets the Hero of the Day award for a big teammate play through the middle part of the race. Way to go out there, Christina. Dana Wagner in 7th, the German rider. Then you've got Argentinian Barbara Frisch, another Aeonian rider in 8th. And then Ellen Dellen in 9th. The second Swede in your top 10. Big thank you to SZR for hosting our midweek race series. That's the A women out there today. Take a look here at the B's. It's all Sweden. So V. Nevrel, Johanna Tidholm, and Anna Reburse, and they've all, Nathan, rode up there with the A women today, and as I said, punched above their weight. We were really, really impressed, ladies. Good job.
And then good shout out to Heinrich. That's a solid ride. She hung on all the way through that first KO, Queen of the Mountain out there. So always really good to see riders punching above their weight, as you would say, Dave. I'm not sure we're going to have anybody in the D category already coming on through.
Not
so that's
yet.
going to be it here for the C's right now. Let's go ahead and take a quick look, though, over at the results for the men, as well as, well, actually, let's take a quick look at that replay. We're going to get an idea of what exactly happened there, because we might have another situation here where,
We might, yeah.
the back-end API, it don't lie. There's reality that line is just a little bit maybe ahead here, and you've got to just keep on rolling on through. I believe we're going to take a look from Kyle Davies' perspective. We're going to see how things played out actually from pretty far out here. I think we're looking at about 1K to go. I want to see when Laverick actually went here. This is the replay. We're at 42 kilometers ago. Laverick is already off the front, as you can see, as we look at Highwell right now. And solid result for Davies, is he had a lot of the sprint points, but he wasn't really involved in the final because of how much he focused in, I think, today on those sprint points. But Boniface, what a ride from him after he actually gave a lot of efforts early on, but still ended up in the sprint for first or second.
Yeah, I mean, Nathan, if Ed Laverick can't do it, no one can, as far as making a move like this work. But it speaks to courage and having the so Laverick is going to come back here, and now we're going to engage into the final sprint. I guess I'm sort of tipping my hand here. If you didn't watch already, you're like, does he come back or not? Well, he does.
Yeah, so Laverick does get
at this point now.
And Vitoni here from the World Elite Zwifters, it looks like here. Wilms then as well. They were really the ones who pulled things back together, but the ones waiting to pounce, it was going to be Vigo Moore and Brett Boniface. And the timing is so interesting here, Dave. Speak to that a little bit here. I mean, there's the reality of them coming from the middle of the pack almost. You feel like they wait too long.
And it's surfing. Yeah, no, absolutely. And it shows you how it's bizarre how there is a moment, but there's patience required, but you surf through. So if you can use that Peloton to help you launch your sprint, it makes a massive difference. And that's what the champions always do. And what happens in the last 500K is absolutely mind-blowing. Like when you see Vigo Moore surge here, Nathan, almost anyone who's been watching in real life racing and not a lot of esports would say, well, that's a done deal, right? I mean, look at the gap, look what's happening, and there's not really much more than a football field between Vigo and the line. But watch how quickly they close, to your point, Nathan.
Yeah, looking on through here, it looks like Vigo coming on through. Solid kick here from Vigo. Vitoni there. Boniface, though, trying to come on through. It looks like Boniface almost got it at the line. We'll have to wait and see if he rolled through it. Look at the speed. It's so crazy how much speed they come through. And Boniface might have had that.
You know what? I'm going to guess that, so like Vigo won, but I'm going to say that probably back-end API goes with Boniface. What's the truth, Nathan?
It was so close. And as we bring it on here, there it is.
Yeah.
Look at how close it was, too. I mean, it was as close as it gets here. A thousandth of a second, something like that. So what a crazy result here for Brett Boniface. And, the speed that you come through, the reality of the speed that you come through with from that pack, it can't be overstated. Did you see how that kick, that last 200 meters thing, if you got a large pack like that, it changes with the pack. So Vigo Moore, 18 hundredths of a second. Vitoni there then for third. It's going to be Wisting, who had a lot of solid sprint points, but ended up coming on through for fourth. Matthias Lundqvist, Hywell Davies, Gavin Dempster, Ryan Giuliano, and then Zach Herod, followed up by Christian Moxon. So that's the situation for the A category. Solid racing all around from these boys. Let's go ahead and take a look and see if
that is a who's who
category. Oh my gosh, this is the
really
who's who.
Yeah. And how about Gavin getting, for a guy who's not a sprinter, top 10, 7th out of that group, not bad at all.
Yeah, go ahead, take it away there, Dave, with the bees.
You bet. Well, who doesn't want to give a shout out to the Numinator? That's awesome. Army Cycling getting the win, the gold standard. Congratulations. Carl Tassilius, our old friend and class act out of Sweden, ending up with the silver. Way to go, Carl. Got a lot of friends over here in the United States. Eric Hellstrom for bronze. Johan Janssen in for us. So Sweden putting 3 in the top 4, including silver. EF for 5th. Eli Unterhuber in sixth, Arne Velna in seventh, Daniel Ogren in eighth, Andreas Brandstrom in ninth, and then Ewan Marshall, Scottish rider, in 10th. That's your Bs from first to 10th.
Like the C's
They're
have
still
not
out
finished
racing
up.
there, probably.
Yeah,
Yep.
good job, C's. Good job, C's and
Yeah.
D's. We'll give them a little bit of a shout out
Bravo.
there. Great job out there, guys. And sorry we couldn't catch any of your results, as the staggering of the starts tends to keep things from being able to sometimes bring in all of the results. But that's going to be it from us here today. Dave is not going to be with us tomorrow. Dave, what are you doing tomorrow? Why aren't you hanging out with us?
I know. I feel terrible. I heard Martin just told me there's 500 teams racing as well. But I'm traveling down to Colorado Springs for a 4-day mountain bike race. The Pikes Peak Apex is happening. Rock Shocks is supporting it. Would have loved to have had you there, Nathan, to tell you the truth. You would have really, really enjoyed it. But some big names like Katie Compton and Russell Finsterwald are all racing. But
Vincey,
yeah.
Russell.
Yeah.
I've run races
You're old.
Vincey. Yeah.
So I'll
Loving
tell
it.
him you said hi. I'll make you a deal, Nathan. I'll tell him you said hi, and I'll give a shout out to all your mountain bike friends because they're all going to be asking me how you're doing. But would you tell everybody I really am going to miss them tomorrow at WTRL, and I'll be back next week.
Yeah, you'll be back next week. We'll be back next week. I mean, we're into we're almost on 80 at this point. We're
75, I think.
75, 76. I mean, we're getting up there. So we're getting old. No, I'm just kidding. So here we go. Tomorrow, WTRL. What we've done so far this week, if you haven't watched them, we've got the VODs all over on our YouTube, Twitch, as well as Facebook. You can head on over to those if you do want to watch how things played out in the Women's Empowerment Series. We were out in France. It was a pretty amazing that jigsaw puzzle, the jigsaw that took everybody out at the end. That was really cool finish actually yesterday. If you didn't watch that finish, definitely go check that out. And then the Crit Crushers has been really interesting to watch. We've been watching the women's and the men's coming out of Australia, back-to-back, short, punchy racing. They're only about 9 to 10K. That happened very early this morning, too. 3 a.m. was the start time. So go check out those if you want to. Otherwise, we'll be back for WTRL TTT. If you're just tuning in, you can always check out the VODs as well of the races that you just jump in with on our Zwift Community Live pages as well. I'm Nathan Guerra. Dave Towle's next to me. That's going to be it for SZR today. And we'll see you tomorrow for number 75 with 511 teams. We're pushing over 4,000. It is heating up for the fall. We're going to be hitting those record-breaking numbers very soon. Largest event out on Zwift, WTRL TTT. We'll see you there tomorrow. Registration just closed. You're too late. You got to get late for next week if you want to be in. But we'll see you tomorrow for the broadcast. Right on, everybody.